The Anita and Dario Show. The art of savoring, discovering how to fully indulge in the present moment, savoring every experience, every morsel, and every breath, unlocking the deeper appreciation for the beauty of life and the Mediterranean lifestyle.
Oh, live your life. Get inspired and cherish moments with food, travel, cooking, the Mediterranean way.
Good morning, everyone. This is the Anita and Dario Show.
Ciao, ragazzi. Buongiorno.
Ciao, ciao, ciao. So, for those that don't know, this is Italian-born chef Dario Tomaselli.
And rich life and business strategy, Anita Heidema.
And we talk everything around the Mediterranean lifestyle. It's not a diet. It's about health, happiness, and inspired living. So we talk about food, we talk about lifestyle, we talk about encouraging and inspiring you to live your full life. So today is part 2 to Mythbusters to the Mediterranean diet. Oh, look
at the balloons.
Did I end up doing it with I did.
Yes. Two.
It only does it for me. What can I say?
You're special.
So today is part 2. Just a few things while people get on that we want to talk about. I'm just going to have a sip here, actually. A few things that we want to talk about that we're going to be doing. So yesterday we talked about, or last week we talked about, last Sunday, about the first myths. We got into a little bit of details about when we were in Italy and the things we did for the fruits and vegetables, for the olive oil. And we're going to get more in depth into that for part 3 and part 4. This is going to be a 4-part series around myth busting. We're going to talk about the dish that I absolutely loved.
Yes.
And it had lemons in it. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. So if anyone hasn't seen it, it's in the email list. It's posted on Instagram. It's a lemon pasta dish. And we're going to talk a little bit about it today, a little bit later on. But we're also going to on the third part, I think we're going to get into the lemon dish. And in the fourth, we're going to get into the dish that you love the best.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah.
Pasta alla norma, was it?
Pasta alla norma.
It was really good.
Yeah, delicious.
I got to say it was my number 2, but the lemon dish was my number 1. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. For those of you that haven't come into the Anita and Dario show before, we stream over to our Facebook group, and we stream to our Live Your Life TV. For those of you that maybe are not available on Sundays, the best way is to go into our newsletter, and we do a replay.
That's right.
For those the following day, or I think later on that day.
Yes.
I think it's actually the Monday. We set it out the Monday. So you'll always get an opportunity to do it, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, or go on over to our Facebook group. And there you'll be able to watch some of the replays, or join us at 10 o'clock on Sunday, which we enjoy having you. So
you get up in the morning, you have your coffee, tea, or whatever you want. Coffee, tea, or us. And enjoy yourself, and we spend half an hour together, isn't it?
And we try to keep it to half an hour. I think if we went longer, we'd probably get everything covered, but
sometimes we do.
Yeah, no, that's the way.
It's my fault, apparently.
It is? Why is it your fault?
Sometimes we always go over because they talk too
Oh,
much.
yeah. Well, I talk a lot too. We both tend to talk a lot. Anyone that knows us, we do talk a lot.
We do, huh? Don't we?
But we get so passionate about what we do. We really enjoy it. And what we bring to the table as a North American rich life and business strategist, how do you eat, work, play the Mediterranean way? How are people are doing it in the Mediterranean? How to bring that home to North America or the UK or Australia, any of those other places. How do you live that Mediterranean lifestyle? And it's not a diet. And that's what we're going to get over some more of the busters. And as an Italian chef that's been born and raised in Italy, what is that? How is it different? And that's so important.
Well, and again, not a diet. We talk a little bit, we touched a bit last week in regard of the importance of living well and living convivially. The word that I absolutely love. Sorry, guys, I keep smelling this because to me is the essence of freshness and purity. Living Mediterranean lifestyle, like just really living moments, not just blinks of something, or we call it bucket of rocks. Eating well, connect with the people, then they're really they don't suck the the energy out of you, but they really inject a positive energy. And stay active, and really do stay active. And one of the things we really believe is, when you stay active, when you're connecting and you eat well, this engine works well. That's pretty much, we focus on this engine mainly.
It's interesting, when we were in Italy, one night comes to mind.
Right.
We went to this restaurant called Tucci. I think it was named after Stanley Tucci.
Yeah.
And I forget what the actor is right now, but we're going to post on social.
Un Posto al Sole is the actor of a show called Un Posto al Sole. It's a phenomenal. Patrizio is his name. Yeah. Incredible time there.
Yeah. So it was interesting because we got there early and nobody was there, and we had a phenomenal dinner. And then I think it was around 10:30. It started, all these people came in, and it was karaoke night. Oh my goodness. It was unbelievable. We had so much fun, and looking at everybody. Put it a week later, we come home. It's a Friday night, and we go to have a pizza somewhere and a beer, and we sit down.
Simple place. And a place normally we would go in the past all the time, and
8:30, they say last call.
Yeah.
And we were so flabbergasted because this place is usually a lively place. They used to have bands that would come. There would be a lot of activity. Niente. There was nothing.
Nothing.
And we're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe the change in what's happening. And so we need to bring some of that enjoyment back. When you go to Italy and Europe, mostly, but I think probably in the Mediterranean, they have their happy hour. People get together. It's so great. In a few weeks, we're doing, Cuisinart donated a pizza oven for us, and we're going to be showcasing some different types of pizzas and different things to do. And what's actually neat, and Dario's son came up with this one.
Yeah.
He said we should all bring our thought process and what we want to put on our pizza so that we can create something unique and different. So everyone's going to make their pizza or to share, and they're going to make it and create it their own way. So they're going to come with ingredients that are going to be a little bit different. How fun is that? So we'll probably share some pictures of those kind of things too.
It's fun. And again, we go back to the thing. It's convivial.
Yeah.
We're going to have all our kids here celebrating our boys' 30th.
They're 30, the older ones.
30 years old. But it's going to be a way then, food is the conduit. I always say food is that conduit of the communication. Everybody's going to be together. We're going to be comfortable. We're going to have fun. Everybody's going to have their own inner chef, which is great. So we're really
excited. We took the boys. What was the name of the restaurant? Michael?
Well, yeah, that was, if you guys in Toronto, Bergsy on Front Street.
Front and Church.
Front and Church,
yeah.
Yes. What an incredible experience.
Yeah.
If you want to have a truly incredible Mediterranean experience, we went, myself and Anita, this past Thursday for dinner. We take the boys out, and it was from A to Z an incredible experience. Michael Angeloni is the chef and co-owner, wonderful chef, one of the most talented young chefs in the city for sure. And please don't hesitate to go there.
You got to go check it out. It's really nice. It used to be an old French restaurant.
Yeah,
and then
I think it was Papillon.
Yeah, and
I'm not quite sure exactly, but Bergsy on Front Street. It's walking distance from St. Lawrence Market. Great.
And if anyone needs a spelling, just comment below, and then I will look it up and send it to you. But I love the story behind it too, because Michael's dad, when Michael was 16, had approached Dario when he was running Oro and said, I'd love Michael to experience what it's like to work in a kitchen before he decides this is his career. So he did. He worked with Dario and loved it so much that he ended up training himself and had gone through this experience of being a chef, and he's traveled all over and brought everything back to this restaurant and a Mano as well, right?
Well, is part of the group. Then they have multiple restaurants, Carbon Bar, Lucy, in partnership with his great Yannick Biret. Really good young man, and really super humble, passionate. I still see him as a young 16 years old, this tall young boy coming in, and now seen as a young man, super successful. Passion is still to the craft.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's nice seeing him succeed. He's worked very hard and he's done very well for himself. So
that's right.
So today we're going to get into the myths of the Mediterranean lifestyle. We covered 4 tips last week, and then we're going to get a little bit into the recipe. Next week, we'll get more into the recipes. Of course, we have recipes online for a lot of our Mediterranean dishes. We are looking to create a program around how to create your kitchen to be more Mediterranean and healthy. But I'd love to get your thoughts on what you want to look for. So the 2 things I would think out of today, that if you're wanting to get any of the repeats that we have, is go over to our newsletter at oliveyourlife.org. Liveyourlife.org, and join into the newsletter, so then you get all of the details that we have here. And then number 2, if there's anything that you're looking to get out of our brand as far as the Mediterranean lifestyle that you've been wanting to know, we'd love to hear from you, to get an idea that what we're doing is serving you, the people that we're interviewing, the things that we're doing. We love everything that we're doing to help, but does it help you? And I believe it does, but we just want to know. So anyway, we're going to get into the myths right now. I don't know how we're doing for time.
We are good.
We're
We are
for
good,
timing.
right? Yes.
Yeah, we're good for time. So we talked about, it's just about olive oil. It's a fat-free diet. It's expensive. Niente, niente, niente. And so we're going to get into the other one here. It's only for weight loss. So people think of the Mediterranean diet just for weight loss. And when you think of that, right away, it's restriction, right? It's not a diet, because a diet gives you a time period. It gives you restrictions on what you're doing. As long as you're eating more good foods, you're going to eat less of the bad foods.
Correct.
Right? So when we talk about the pyramid that we have, it's not a restriction. You have to be doing all this. It's living the Mediterranean way. It's eating slower. And when you eat slower, you realize that you're fuller quicker, right?
That's right.
It's eating from what's in season. It eats more fruits and vegetables.
That's
What we know is like half of your plate. It's about basically balanced eating. So how many diets did you have in Italy when you went there?
No, diet is diet is and when I do understand people, they have restrictions, and they have, we do respect, and also there is reasoning through, everybody's different, and everybody has a restriction. They have to be careful of one thing to the next one. But one thing I want to add to that, there is good fat and bad fat.
Yeah,
we do need some fat in our body. We do need some fat, but what kind of fat we put in it? I see people sometimes, they get a beautiful prosciutto di Parma, which is the most natural, and they take all the fat out. That is actually good fat. This is not chemical fat. If it's good, original with the symbol prosciutto di Parma, it is a good fat. Obviously, again, we're talking about moderation. Moderation. So not extreme amount of fat. Balance.
Yeah.
In Italy, I give you an idea. If you go in the area of Siena, in Tuscany, they have this dish called lardo di colonnata. Colonnata is an area, and lardo is lard, basically. But it's pure lard. This animal that has been running around outside, la cinta senese, this type of pig. And the lardo is super, super light and fresh. Obviously, I'm not going to put a pound of lard on my sandwich, but it's this lardo that is super, super light, okay? Then you put in a slice of bread with a squeeze of honey and a little crushed pistachio. That is fresh, pure, and balanced.
Yeah. And it's not having to worry. I think the stress that goes with eating adds to it. So for myself, I look at years ago, when I was 6 years old, many people might already know this. When I was 6 years old, I was told that our family was predisposed to high cholesterol. Yeah. So I went through the journey with my mom that would juice every day. I was only given 1 egg a week. I was restricted to no fats. It was very, very strict. I think I didn't have any like cakes or pastries or chips or any of that kind of stuff. Pop, I was never even seen in my family. And it was somewhat restricted, and because my mom was really worried, and so be it. So when I got into my 20s and I had availability to all these other foods, I went to the doctor and they said, wow, you have the cholesterol of a 65-year-old man. And I was a lot younger than I am now, and I was a lot less in weight than I am now. So I went through this restriction, and I went through in my 20s really restricting what I was doing.
Right.
There was talk of, processed was really bad, which we know is still the case. But, I would make my own butter. And at that time, the thought process was you would do half butter, half canola oil, and you'd whip it. Because the saturated fat with the butter was good, but it was just in a limited amount, right? It's much better than getting one of those margarine tubs that have the trans fats in it, which are worse for you,
The
right?
spreadable one.
So the fats are really, really important. So anything that stays hard in the fridge would be using those trans fats. And then as we grew and do more, they would add sugars to a lot of these things. And we understood that, the fats that we were limiting weren't necessarily should be limited, and the other ones are. So everything in moderation. Like, if you are a meat eater, yes, eat your meat once a week. Have fresh seafood.
Yeah.
Look at the variety of food that you're having. And that is so much more important. Then go back to when I was 40, I ended up joining Lipid Clinic and learning that things had changed again, and that my body was producing too much cholesterol. So it necessarily wasn't what I was eating. It was what I needed to eat to flush out my system. So I needed more fiber. I needed more of those type of things. But again, it's all in balance, because when you go back to the whole thing, when they lay it out, it's all in balance. So I went through that stage of my life where I was looking at every single thing, trying to figure out what was done. And the importance of the balance is what gets you there. So, as you go through your journey in your life, it's, as Dario said, we respect those people that have to go through something different, but the stress around it and eating grass and not enjoying the life is also means a lot, right? And it adds a lot to the stress of living. And that's what they do in the Mediterranean. You look to the people in Italy and they have wine every day, actually all over the Mediterranean. You think about it, you think in France, they have cheeses, they have all of those things, but they have them within moderation. They have the pasta. The pasta is, of course, treated differently too, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And again, it's everything is balanced out. I mean, if you go to some of the houses, soccer player. Give an example, great athletes and everything, when they most of the time have pasta, they're not going to have pasta with 3,000 sauces, but could be a pasta. And how you cook the pasta, that is the other thing that we need to think about. Fruit, vegetable, you eat fruit, vegetable, pasta, and everything, but how you eat it. If you overcook in pasta, you're losing all the nutrients. If you overcook vegetable, all the vitamins are gone. So there is not any good health elements in it. Same thing with fruit. If you overcook or you bake or you do anything, just be very careful to allow the natural sugar of that fruit or that vegetable to extend themselves, right? So always understand then every element that you're using on your plate has a specific purpose, and you have to respect it.
Yeah, that's so true. And it's not about a diet. That's what we're talking about here. It's not just for weight loss. It's about the way of living. It's adding the principles that we have in our free ebook online, the 8 principles that are really, really important. So if you go over to liveyourlife.org, you'll see that we have a free ebook there, and go in and take a look and see all the different ones. It's not about weight loss. That just comes naturally. It's about a way of living. It's enjoying time with others, eating together. In the 50s, all of a sudden these conveniences started to come in. People were doing their TV dinners. The woman would be in the apron at home and saying that she cooked the meal, and then she put the TV and dinner in front of her husband that would have the tray, and then he'd watch TV. There started to become that separation, and a lot of health issues started happening. So it is around your lifestyle, and it's really, really important. So the next one is some of these things I think we talked about a bit, but you have to avoid meat completely. There are certain nutrients that you need within meat. There's certain types of compound proteins that you're needed to build your body properly.
Yeah.
So to eliminate it completely, yes, it's gonna. If you're a vegetarian,
absolutely,
you're gonna find it in other ways. But to do it just for the basis of for your health, you need many of those things. So once a week,
there are a lot of great chefs, for example, then they turn some of the restaurant into vegetarian type of restaurant. They're very successful and amazing restaurants. you gotta also really understand what kind of protein you're gonna replenish into your body. Okay, because obviously you need some type of protein that will replenish. Will be a nut, will be a grain, will be a legume, or whatever it is. But we go back to the same thing: is how you are cooking it. Okay, if you have, let's say, once in a while we crave a steak. So one of the most important things is figuring out where the meat comes from. As good as it's meat and it's been full of antibiotics, full of garbage that is in it. Research who you getting your meat from. Okay, there has nothing additive in it. And then how are you going to cook it? So for
It's
me,
super important.
for me, important. I'm not. I don't mind cooking it in a barbecue, but if I have a preference, I like to cook it on a cast iron skillet. I like to cook it medium rare. I like to make sure the meat is at body temperature. All those little things. So same thing with a vegetable. Same thing with a bean, with a grain, or whatever you want to do. It's nothing new unless, like Anita was saying, you are vegetarian and you cannot eat meat, or you do not choose not to eat meat. That's fine. But when whatever you're replacing it with, make sure you respect their ingredient to the must. And if you do want to eat your meat, occasionally, because occasionally it's fine, make sure you cook it to the must. That is important because, I know a lot of people.
And that's not overcooking it.
It's not overcooking.
And respecting the animal.
Well, no, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're thinking about overcooking, and by all means, I'm not here to tell people how to eat their meat. I mean, if people are stubborn and say, I want to eat my meat well done, okay, fine. Let me tell you, that is probably the worst way to eat meat because you actually kill all the good bacteria, all the good protein into the meat, and all that charcoal that it sits on that meat is actually cancerous for you. It's really not good. You're taking away all those good protein. At that point in time, maybe choose something else or replace something else. And if you really stick about, I just want my meat well done. Okay. That's really my case. Or instead to eat a piece of meat well done, a braised piece of meat. If you really like meat, a braised leg shank, a short ribs, then they're cooked right through it, but it's still tender and all the flavor are still in the liquid. So you're not losing everything, right? So
yeah. So again, everything in moderation. One size fits all diet. First of all, it's not a diet. And number two, it's not a one size fits all. And many people, they'll eat like that. What they'll do is they'll say, okay, I'm only having this in the morning and this in the afternoon and this at dinner. And what kind of a life is that when you're so restricted? It's about adding more fruits and vegetables into your diet, exploring what that is, and which we're going to be doing with the lemons. We're going to do with the other pasta dish. We're going to be doing a couple other dishes. And we do have some recipes online as well for you to look at where we explore different ways to be able to cook and use your fruits and vegetables, right? And so it's not a one size fits all. It's about exploring, trying different things and eating things together. That's really, really important. Do you have anything to say on that one?
No, that's pretty much right on the dot. I mean, like it's using everything in balance.
I love this one. You can eat anything as long as it's Mediterranean. Well, I mean, some of the stuff in the Mediterranean, I find that a lot of the pastas are really good because they're not as refined. I mean, they're made better. The farms are a little bit, they've got more restrictions on them than they do in North America. But we talk about living that Mediterranean lifestyle in where you live. So it's using those products that are local to you.
So we always say about support the farmer, support where you are in. If you're in Kentucky, if you are in northern Alberta, if you are whatever you're going to be, respect, understanding every single product. It's unique. It is unique. When you're looking about cattle, for example, I mean, talking about meat, for example, northern part of Canada, part of the other part of the world, they have some beautiful, beautiful meat. Argentina, for example. It's how you use it. It's how you use it. And you can use your technique. So we always say support where you are and use the Mediterranean technique.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got, if we bring everything, well, that's okay. But there is so many producers right here in where you are, then they are incredible.
And fresh is best.
Fresh is best.
Fresh is best because when you look at it being transported from somewhere else, it does lose
Right.
the nutrients in it. Some products you can't get from other places. I mean, so it's kind of like not a cookie cutter, which we're talking about here, not a one size
There's
fits
not
all.
one size fits all.
But it doesn't mean about living in the Mediterranean. That's the whole point of what we're talking about is living the Mediterranean lifestyle from anywhere. It's about connecting with your friends. It's about getting out and being active. It's about eating local food. It's about bringing those delicious foods into your life. It's about cooking and eating again. It's about not being stressed out. How do you do that? Finding that purpose. There's so many things around it, but we're talking about the food part of it for now, living in balance. Drink wine is a must. I like to go with that one.
I mean,
It's not a must.
Well, it's not a must. I mean, there are people, we created, not we, Anita created something. Then, for example, there are people that they don't like, some people don't like wine, and some people are allergic to wine. And so we created an opportunity for people to actually pair their food with juices.
Yeah.
Right? So you're still part of the convivial world. But, if you cannot have wine, instead of just have the boring plain water, which is nothing wrong with that, that is pairing. They use beautiful vegetable, beautiful fruit that can be incorporated in a dish.
And so what we've done is created a recipe, and Dario says, you know what, this element or this flavor will accent the dish. And then I've created the juice that goes around that. And people will drink it with a wine glass. Some people will because they don't like wine, they'll spike it with something,
Yeah.
So there's so many different ways of having it, but it's a much healthier way to add to your life. But in the Mediterranean, the point is they do drink wine and they do enjoy it daily, and they're still healthy for it. So I think, again, everything in moderation. We're not telling you to drink every day.
No.
We're not saying anything like that, but it's more of a relaxed way of living as opposed to being so stressed.
That's right.
And that's what's really important. So no, it's not about drinking wine every day, but I mean, we have this moderation that we're looking. It's a fad diet.
It's a what?
A fad diet.
What's fad mean?
Fad means it's just a popular thing for now. And I got to agree it is, because everyone talks about this Mediterranean diet. I mean, if anyone has seen I forget what TV show we did it on. I think it was CTV. Anyway, they say, oh, yes, you're here for the Mediterranean diet. And we both we're shocked. We're like, no, it's not a diet. It's a lifestyle. And the word Mediterranean diet is just taken off. And Dario talked a little bit about this last year. This gentleman, sergeant that went over to Italy and saw that their soldiers were much healthier, and
the workers were much healthier because we were working the field, and they were eating the product from the field. Meanwhile, this American soldier, all these soldiers were always tired because we're eating all this compromised food.
Yeah.
But and here I want to add to this fad. That's a new word I learned today.
Just a fad, it's something that's going to come and go. It's popular for now. It's going to come.
Is your life a fad? Not really. Really. I think the way the Mediterranean eat has been there for century. Diet has started probably a few years ago, many years ago. But the way you live, the way you actually follow the way of living has been done forever, ever. I never, I'm one of those person that never really follows a fad, because I really am. I'm my own person, and I really make choices of whatever is right for me. And that's what I say sometimes to our viewers. I said, we might not be good for everyone, but we'll be good for someone, and that's okay. That is totally fine, because you may say, this is a bunch of gibberish. You know what? I'm going to stick with this, and that's okay. So long as you are happy and you think that your body is going to be healthy and you're going to live a long life, that's great. But follow what is good for you, not a fad. Because a fad eventually, like I guess the word say, comes and goes. Your life needs to try to stay for a long time.
It's living a long time and living inspired and
Inspired,
happy, right?
exactly.
I think people need this more than ever, to think about how they're doing things, what they're doing,
That's right.
and not in the way of restrictions, but in the way of enjoyment of life.
That's
So
right.
we're running out of time, dear. We're already at 30 minutes, but we wanted to talk just briefly what we're going to do next week. Because next week we're going to get into and if anyone hasn't seen the picture of it, it's so good.
Lemons. Lemons is one of the most incredible, obviously a citrus, but
The lemons in Sorrento were 4 times that size.
4 times that size. Yeah, they're different temperature. So one of the best things about lemons is, unfortunately, whatever you are right now, when you go to a store, they are treated. Okay, they have a lot of that muck on it, or dust, or chemicals. Sometimes they put in it. When you go to the Amalfi, you got the tomato right from a tree. They smell different.
And the lemons from the tree.
And the lemon for the tree. Yeah. So one of the best things you're going to do is really rub them with a towel, and you see all the stuff comes out. Okay. And then you use absolutely everything of the lemon, from the citrus to the juices, everything, every single part. And this dish specifically is delicious because you use everything from the lemon, including the shell. Now, this is an Amalfi lemon, so it's a much, much larger.
But you could do the same thing at home. Create this dish at home.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's tagliorini, so the very thin, fresh pasta. And it's made with lemon. They use a touch
You're salivating thinking of
it. Ironically, because it's not such a thing that you will see in the southern part of Italy, they use a little bit of good cream. Okay, they use a little bit of lumpfish, caviar, and a little bit of prawns or gamberi, and it's so light and delicious. But what they use in the sauce, they use the rind of the lemon, which is the most pungent, the juice of the lemon to cut down that fat, and the crustaceans on the prawns that really gives the full umami flavor. Yummy. And the saltiness of the little bit of the lumpfish. Delicious. I mean, Anita had it for the first time in this beautiful restaurant in Sorrento. I think it was in February. We went back.
No, we were in November, and then we went back in February. I had the exact same thing.
It was delicious. So, and all the people were with us had it. And it was just the most incredible dish. And even by having a fat like cream, it was extremely light because the citrus really helped to make it much, much lighter.
So we don't have enough time in this episode to go into the whole thing.
She just cut me off, right?
Did you want to say more?
No, just joking. Just to the point.
You're such a troublemaker.
She's right to the point.
But I'm just thinking, we always say half an hour and we always go over. So
see, this is the Dutch and the
we're like the yin and the yang.
So she's like, you have to make sure if you have anything, you always have a Dutch driving the car because an Italian might get off the road.
So true. So true. Anyway, so that's it for today. We'll see you next week at 10 o'clock on Sunday. Again, come on over to the newsletter if you want to be able to get the replays. We are playing in our Facebook group and our YouTube channel. You will find all the details. And then next week, we're excited. I'm excited to do this recipe.
Oh, we are
I'm going to be doing a little comparison there, dear.
The reason why we are doing this recipe, you know what it is? Because she's going to eat it. This is the old
lucky am I.
This is the old deal about this. It's about making a thing so then
and it's so funny how we're making my favorite recipe first. I gotta say, I planned it perfectly.
And this is interesting. Follow the next one that we are talking about. This is a recipe that we go from now. Next week we're going to talk about this recipe from Amalfi. But the next one, which is my favorite, we're going down to
Sicily.
To Sicily. Yes.
It was very, very good. So in the newsletter, or subscribe to our YouTube channel or our Facebook group. And really excited to have you guys, Ken, this year.
Make sure you
Make
sure you stay connected with us. Make sure you let us know what do you want to hear, what do you want to see, what do you want to do. But don't forget to live the Mediterranean lifestyle from anywhere.
The Anita and Dario Show. The art of savoring, discovering how to fully indulge in the present moment, savoring every experience, every morsel, and every breath, unlocking the deeper appreciation for the beauty of life and the Mediterranean lifestyle.
Oh, live your life. Get inspired and cherish moments with food, travel, cooking, the Mediterranean way.